Hello and welcome to the Wild Mama podcast. My name is Angel Rockwell and I am your host. Today, in today's episode, we are diving into a conversation around the identity of doing in motherhood. We're going to talk about shedding that identity and really embracing something that feels free and gives us a lot more room to be flexible and adaptable inside our lives. Now, I'm going to do things a little bit differently. If you've caught episodes of my podcast previously, I'm going to actually talk this through with you today. I've had two moments this week that have been profoundly illuminating for me, and I can definitely feel like I'm still in the process of having this all integrate into a complete whole, and perhaps a completely whole lesson as well. And I feel like there's a lot of benefit in just showing up and having this conversation with you. I can tell that, I can feel that there's going to be things that click into place. And I might be making the shift in this podcast in general to go into this way, because I feel like as much as there is benefit in showing up here and saying, this is what happened and this is what I've learned, I do also know my own experience that I really desire to be in experience with other mothers and move through things together. Of course, there is value in hearing the lessons people have learned, and I feel like I'm just in this phase of my life right now where I'm feeling deeper value in learning alongside other mothers and really being connected in the experience together. So that's my desire and my intention with you here today, is to flow with the magic and then see what clicks into place. And I know that when things click into place for me too, that there's an opportunity for things to click into place for you. So I'll share with you the first moment of my own personal experience, what happened to me this week that really brought this forward. My husband and I have been incorporated together and have been running all of our businesses out of one incorporation for almost 10 years now. And with his work in construction, he's just been in a partnership for a number of years, and it just feels good and wonderful for him to just create something else and kind of head off in that direction. And I'm fully supportive of what he's doing. And when he voiced to me that he wanted to create another incorporation in order to start this partnership, I was really reactive about it. I noticed huge amounts of resistance, and he did ask me, he's like, why are you so resistant? And I wasn't sure. So that moment is what spurred this curiosity in me to really explore what this resistance is, what purpose it's serving, and how I can utilize this moment in my life to really expand and free myself of experiencing more unnecessary resistance like this. So this podcast is not about business. It's not about my husband. That's just the moment that really illuminated to me that I'm holding on to a lot of resistance. And it didn't take me long to just sit in quiet contemplation to really recognize that what I was experiencing inside that resistance was a fear of losing control, and also a desire to be in control. So there was a little crazy mix-up of fear and desire in that. But I saw it really clearly when I just took a moment to be with myself, and that got me onto this idea of control. And it just flowed very smoothly for me in this moment of contemplation with myself, that this control really was tied up in the doing of the things. And in a deep space of motherhood, I'm home full time, all time with my children, and there's lots to do. I think I'm trying to eliminate that. I think there is a really big identity that a lot of us hold, that there's so much to do in motherhood, especially for those of us that choose to be home full time and fully present with our children, that there's just a lot of things on the to-do list. Responsibilities, maybe is another word that you have for them. But there's lots of things to do. The doing, all the things that we have to do can be overwhelming, and. So this control that I was feeling, this desire to control and also fear that I wouldn't have it, led me into that. I kind of sorted that all out on the business end of things, and we're all good and everything's fine. And then once I kind of had that all wrapped up in a nice little bow, and I was able to relax, release, and support and move forward from a place of not micromanaging, controlling things that really aren't mine to control, I said, okay, here's another moment I can be honest with myself. If I am, and I am, I was really trying to control from a place of fear things that were not mine to control, since I was doing it there, it's probably likely that I'm doing it in other places as well. And I don't want to be having that unconsciously anywhere. So I took a look at my marriage and my motherhood and all the relationships in my family, and that's what's brought me here. This idea that we really have so much to do. Fundamentally, I believe that our purpose here as humans, but as mothers, particularly with children, as mothers at home, a word wanted to come out that it wasn't the word I wanted to use. The identity that we have so much to do, so much responsibility, really kind of runs the show. And I know from speaking to so many mothers and being a mother of two myself, that the moments that we're not doing much of anything, when we're sitting and simply being, when we're laying next to our sleeping children or sitting quietly and watching them play or just being with them, these are the magical moments. And I know this, and bringing this identity forward of, okay, there is a really big part of me here that has been trying to control, because if I control it, then I won't lose it. Crazy. I'm sure you guys can relate to this. This is a really big one for a lot of us. If I can control it, then I can keep it the way that I want it to be. And we get stuck in what we think we want things to be. And then if we're willing to take a far enough step back and look at our lives, we realize that this isn't the way I want things to be. I'm stressed out. I'm overwhelmed. I have too much to do. There's so much stuff on my plate that I don't like. Doing, not spending enough time being. So I've taken a really, I want to say relaxed approach. I've taken a very intentional and highly aware approach with looking at and observing who I'm being and why I'm doing things this week, particularly over the last 4 days. And it's what I've noticed is that I've had a lot more time, a lot more moments to be. I'm not physically running around the house as much, going here, going there. Was I doing that? Oh, I have too many things on the go. I got to pick one kind of, And also in my mind space, there's been a lot more clarity. There's really nothing has shifted in my to-dos, only my frame of reference, the lens that I'm wearing, looking at those things has shifted where it's not necessarily feeling as overwhelming. And what's opened up is a really big space to embody the kind of mother that I want to be, and motherhood in a way that I believe motherhood is meant to be, where we're present with our children and stepping fully and living gloriously in our magic, utilizing our magic. And I'm saying magic not necessarily in the spells and potions kind of way, but that beautiful essence that is you, the things that you love, that you're passionate about, that light your heart on fire, that spark things in your soul, your creativity, your energy, your vitality. When you wake up and your children are here and you're like, yes, we can do this, we can do that. Oh, I was going to do that, but you had that great idea. And everything's just flowing in such a beautiful way where we're experiencing our lives with our children in a way where we're being who we really want to be. So this idea of shedding the identity of doing, I am a mother, I have to do all these things, shedding that and stepping into a space of embodiment of really being. Now, this doing versus being is a concept that I have talked about numerous times. If you've been in my world for a while, you've probably heard me say a lot about this. And I've been trying to hold space. To allow myself to just have this reveal. And I feel like I'm not quite there yet in the total embodiment of it, which is why I just wanted to be a little more playful and having this conversation just roll freely with you today, and really yesterday and the 2 days prior, so that's the last 3 days up until today, I had this unmistakable feeling that there's a deep remembering coming. I would read things, hear things, see things, taste things, and I'd have this flicker, very clear flicker in my mind of, I remembered something that I've now forgotten, which is a funny place to feel. I remembered something that I've forgotten. So there's something that I know, but I can't remember it right now. And not a lyric to a song or something I needed to do. Like, I'm really deep. So the energy in my body has just been like alive and, I don't want to say bubbling, but almost like fizzling and tingling and just like, that's what it feels like. So that energy is there for you. And yesterday it was almost, not paralyzing, but I was wanted to like stand there and be in it. It wasn't paralyzing. Paralyzing is usually fear. There's probably a word there I might look up later. I had to stop. It called me, it commanded me. Here we go. These sensations of this energy, this remembering that's not quite here yet, but I feel it. It was commanding my awareness to just really stop and be present. And we were going to see some family yesterday, and my husband was trying to get us out the door and trying to be supportive, encouraging us to get out the door. He's pretty patient with us these days. And I said, you know what? I've got a lot of energy like flowing through me right now. I got to go outside. And I took my mom and then I went outside, my bare feet, and I stood on our land, and I just, under the trees and the breeze and the sun and all the things, and I was just with this energy. And it was so clear to me then, as it really is now, but really revealed in that moment how much more deeply I have the capacity to embody presence in my life and know what I need to do and take those moments that feel just like so sumptuous to me, and with my children as well. And then yesterday it was just full of those moments of being in the water and being with my children and just being around family. And what really blossomed for me was a deeper acceptance of me. What I've witnessed shedding along with this. Okay, I'm just going to let go of this identity of doing. I don't know exactly what that looks like. I don't know how this is going to unfold, but I don't want to be the person, the mother, the woman. I don't want to be the mother who has so much to do. I want to be the mother that is present and fun and creative and just a joy to be around and learn from and be nourished by. So, okay, I've got this identity I don't want to hold on to. No need to figure out how. I'm choosing to let it go. So I'm not going to focus on the doing. I'm just going to focus on being me, really, and how I can just experience my life in a way that is more delicious for me from that point. So if you're resonating with this here, I encourage you to do the same. Saying, you know what, Angel? Yes, I hear you. I feel you. I want to take my identity of doing. I have so much to do. I don't want to feel that way anymore. I don't want that to be the way of life for me. Just make this choice right now. I choose to just put that identity down for a moment. I'm going to try on something new. And then decide what you want to try on. For me, deep presence and choice in the present moment, and then taking action on that choice like as quickly as possible, because that's very exciting for me. That's what I've chosen. And then today, I had a really amazing opportunity to facilitate an opening, a healing, and a conversation between my husband and my daughter that, oh my God, I've been craving for so long. My daughter's 6 now, and my husband and my daughter are very similar in a lot of the ways that they move and feel. And we've kind of been bumping into the same thing, same conversation for a while, where they just butt heads a little bit. And I've been trying to encourage my husband to have this conversation with her. And I kind of had stopped doing it the way that I had before a little while back, prior to this series of events I'm talking to you about, because I could feel myself trying to manage, trying to control something that wasn't mine to control. This is your relationship. It's not really mine. And that was good for me. It felt better for me because I wasn't doing something that was disadvantageous. And now where I am in this place, this whole new opportunity opened up for me to not control, saying like, you should do this and you do this. It's almost mind blowing to me how it moved. Like we sat at the table and we all families together. My son was there as well. He's not quite 2, so he wasn't quite as verbally involved in the conversation, but we were all there, which felt really nice. And I facilitated a conversation for them. I didn't speak for them as I kind of had in the past. I didn't tell them what they should say here or how it should move. It was just magic. I'm not even sure, again, not quite fully at 100% integration of this transformation that I'm experiencing right now. It was remarkable. And she maintained her presence and was there and listening and engaged. My husband maintained his presence and was listening and there and engaged, and they communicated in a way, and it was a beautiful conversation, and it led to something truly just like so magical, so for us kind of process in our house is, something, butt heads, have some sort of a conflict, we regulate, find a solution or a way we're going to move through this, and then any mending that needs to happen. And then when you're feeling like whole and overflowing with love and complete, then we can, say, all right, let's go to something else now. And they hugged, and it was just like I felt her. I mean, I'm so energetically in tune to my children. I felt sadness like releasing from her, and I watched her just like melt into her daddy, like baby style, that full flop just on his shoulder, and he just held her, and I could feel, I literally saw it in energy, like flowing out of her body. The sadness was just draining from her as he held her, like deep healing. And as that happened, I could see him just like holding her a little bit tighter. And there's no way for me to fully comprehend mentally what the power of that moment was, what the power of that moment has been, and will continue to be for them. She left that conversation in a way that there's never really left conversations like that before. Standing tall, shoulders back, just, light back in her face, confidence, feeling good, like just really naturally her. And my husband thanked me for facilitating that. He said he really appreciated me, me doing that for them. And I kind of smiled a little bit to myself. So it wasn't really what I did. It was who I was being. and that's where I'm at with things. And I really hope that something has stood out for you in terms of how you can choose to be. Let's say you got to choose to be like me. If there's things that work for you and you want to try on, like please steal away and try it on. And that's really what this is all about, what the Wild Mama brand is all about, what this podcast is all about, what I am all about in my womanhood and my motherhood as a stand for my children, as the matriarch of my family, is fully experiencing these moments with deep satisfaction and fulfillment, and being willing to trust and surrender that the deep satisfaction and fulfillment is there regardless of how yucky it feels. How many times have I been through this butt heads between my husband and my daughter over 6 years? It's been a lot, but not giving up. Like there's a way through this. And it took me a while back, I think, having the foresight to just say like, to realize and have the awareness that what I was doing wasn't working. If it's not working, we're not getting anywhere. It's just that hamster wheel. So I just stopped. And then I was able to really witness them. And I think a lot of the stuff that happens, a lot of the integration and the wisdom that we come to know, really comes from those open spaces of observance. It's not from tightening and digging and getting closer in. It's from those moments of relaxation where we're just here witnessing and observing what's going on around us. And again, say this conversation that happened today, I can feel like all these moments, the big one that I shared with you, and then so many other little moments along the way where I recognized, oh, this is me controlling. And what scared me to death, I was in tears about it. I was in tears that my husband wanted to do this, and it was going to just, all it is a incorporation that I'm not part of, that is forming another business entity that the money still all flows into my family. Like, it's the flow of things is no different. The structure that it's moving through is just different. And it triggered in me such a deep fear, a fear of losing control, which led me to, if I'm not in control, then I'm going to lose what I have that I love, which for me right now is my husband and my children and my way of life and my way of being, everything. It was so threatening to me. And it had nothing to do with my husband. It had nothing to do with our business ventures. It had nothing to do with this business venture of his, which is like mind-blowingly abundant. And it's like something that we've never experienced. We've been talking about that we wanted. So it is the thing that we want, is the thing that I want. It was so triggering for me. The resistance was so big, and it's led to that aspect flourishing, and also has continued to spark my curiosity into my life and my marriage. That's a whole other topic of conversation. Things have been really abundant there as well this week, and it's that curiosity. So I really invite you to ask yourself, with everything you're doing now, are you really identified with the things that you do? If somebody said, like, who are you? Would you list off all the things that you do? Because there's a curiosity there for you to know more who you are. Because we are not the things that we do. Like, yes, I'm a mother, and yes, I'm a wife, and yes, I'm a gardener, and I'm a budding ukulele player, and all the things that I do. But that's not who I am. Who I am is beauty and devotion and presence and peace and calm and surrender and trust and faith and abundance. These are all the things that I am. But 10 years ago, who I was so identified with what I did 12 years ago that I had no idea who I was outside of the things that I did. So I know from my own experience, even prior to motherhood and prior to marriage, being identified with what we do is just such a limiting version. It's just so limiting for who we came here to be. And I've seen so much growth and expansion and flourishing in my life in the last, I think it was Monday, today's Sunday, so it's been a full week, 7 days, that this curiosity has given me. So take a look in your motherhood, your marriage, your life, all your relationships. Notice where you're really attached with doing. Say, what if I didn't do any of those things? Who am I underneath all of that? And let me know what sparks for you. Let me know in the comments below here. If you're watching on YouTube, of course. If you're listening on Spotify, or you found yourself somewhere else, there's lots of links in the description here to reach out and connect with me. I really would love to hear from you. How this landed, what stood out, what's pinging in your ears, where are you feeling resistance? Of course, I love to hear what you love. I also love to hear where your resistance is, because our willingness to really speak to the resistance is a willingness to be honest with ourselves. And when we're in that space of self-honesty, it's the most magical place for us to really start experiencing that which we want, which is just so freaking delicious. So thank you for joining me here today on the Wild Mama podcast. Again, my name is Angel Rockwell. I am your host. If you want to connect with me more and you've just found me here for the first time, check out the links in the description. You can, first and foremost, join my Wild Mama free community. It's just a simple drop your name and your email, and then you're in for one of the most magical things that happens bi-weekly, which is the conversation, where we come together in a Zoom room for a conversation with a topic, something like this, and we converse. I bring it to the table. I share my experience. You bring yours to the table. There's can be little bits of coaching if that's what comes up for you. But really, it's just mamas in space having conversations to rise and uplift through motherhood in such a beautiful way that's free. It happens bi-weekly. The most magical part, I think, of the free Wild Mama community. You also get access to my weekly newsletter and my Facebook group as well. So that's the free Wild Mama community. If you liked anything you heard here, or something was super triggering in your resistance, click the link down below, free Wild Mama community. There's also Sacred Circle, the Wild Mama membership. You can check out more details in the link below. Just so much goodness in there in terms of what you have access to expand on the free. It's just more goodness. And then what else? You can follow me on Instagram as well if you want to take a little peek there. The links are all there for you. Again, my name is Angel Rockwell. I am your host of the Wild Mama podcast, and thank you for being here today and sharing in the space of integration with me. I look forward to coming back on here with you for another episode to really just continue this journey on the embodiment of releasing the doing and embracing the being. Mwah. Love to you and your beautiful babies, and until next time, ciao for now.